हेलो, अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन। मैं हूं शाहान बाबर और आप देख रहे हैं कनेक्ट विद शाहान। जैसा कि आप जानते हैं कि हर ट्यूसडे और सैटरडे हम डिफरेंट गेस्ट स्पीकर्स को इनवाइट करते हैं और डिफरेंट शोबा ज़िंदगी से ताल्लुक़ रखने वाले जो प्रोफेशनल्स हैं उनको इनवाइट करके हम डिफरेंट टॉपिक्स पे बात किया करते हैं। तो जैसे कि आज का जो टॉपिक है आप सब लोगों के इल्म में है, इट्स लेबर डे। चूँकि आज 1 मई है, 1 मई मजदूरों का, मेहनत कशों का दिन है। और मैं इस अपने सेशन का जो आगाज़ है वो एक हदीस मुबारक से करूँगा कि हज़ूर पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया था कि अल कासिबु हबीबुल्लाह, द वन who struggled and who earns with his जो हाथ से मेहनत करता है वो शख्स अल्लाह ताला का दोस्त है। शायद मैं इसकी ट्रांसलेशन बेहतर तरीके से नहीं कर पाया, लेकिन एक्चुअल ट्रांसलेशन इज कि जो मेहनत कश है, जो हाथ से रोजी कमा के खाता है, वो अल्लाह ताला का दोस्त है। तो आज हम अपने इसी टॉपिक को लेके आगे बढ़ेंगे। मेरे साथ मौजूद हैं 2 गेस्ट स्पीकर्स और वेरी सीजन प्रोफेशनल्स। मैं स्क्रीन पर सबसे पहले लेके आऊंगा मासूमा को। मासूमा, वेलकम इन। अस्सलाम वालेकुम, कैसी हैं आप?
बिल्कुल, this session, Shahan, honored. Thank you.
Thank you very much. मासूमा कंसल्टेंट हैं और मार्केटिंग से इनका ताल्लुक है। मार्केटिंग कंसल्टेंट हैं और बहुत सी फर्म्स में इन्होंने सर्व किया है, जिसमें मेट्रो है, जिसमें लम्स है और उसके अलावा कॉन्फ्रेंस है। और आजकल ये एक एजुकेशन से रिलेटेड एक कंपनी। Masooma, can you please correct me the name of this company?
Yes. So HCM Global.
HCM, yeah. जी, HCM में आजकल इनके साथ ये एंगेज हैं और इनको एज अ मार्केटिंग एडवाइजर इनको सर्व कर रही हैं। I would say once again, thank you very much for joining. It's pleasure to have you. And let's move forward. The next guest we have today, very seasoned professional. एंड मेरा ख्याल है कि इनका नाम और इनका काम इनको बताता है, मार्केट में इनकी स्टैंडिंग है, इनके नाम और इनके काम से। बहुत ज़्यादा मुझे कुछ बोलने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। जफर साहब, वेलकम इन। अस्सलाम वालेकुम, कैसे हैं आप?
Thank you. Walaikum assalam, Shahan and Masooma, for holding this session. It's really a pleasure. And, I'm really looking forward to learning from you too, and also share what...
Thank you very much.
Some of the
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zafar Saab. Honored to share the space with you.
Thank you so much. It's really great.
Zafar Saab and Masooma, I would like you guys to share a little bit about you. कि आजकल क्या activities हैं, क्या engagements हैं? Zafar Saab, first you please.
Thank you, Zeeshan, again. These days, I've been continuously working, and we are working very hard on advising some large organizations on transformation and cultural change. My background has been in HR and HR transformation, and now as a consultant, we have our company Accelerate. So basically, my core involvement is advising companies on transformation. We're doing some public sector, some government and non-government organizations. It's a very interesting, fascinating challenge that keeps me going. And one more thing that I'm really passionate about is imparting my learning and sharing it with the group. So I am also conducting, for my own satisfaction, a program on executive diploma in HR management through a university in Karachi, IOBM, Institute of Business Management. So they are offering this program, and I am the sole conductor of that program. It's a 10 modules program. We do it alternate Saturdays. So it's a fascinating, and that's part of my week or time when I am with the aspiring HR professionals.
Great. Zabardast. Masooma.
So my intro is short. I just like to call myself the Chief Happiness Officer. Chief Happiness से ज़्यादा आप simply Happiness Officer भी कह सकते हैं. So I want to just absorb whatever the goals of all the colleagues where I work is, and I work with them. Another title I give myself is Bob the Builder. So essentially I'm also a consultant and I build departments. सबको मैं बताती हूँ कि मेरी अगर रेज्यूमे देखी जाए तो मैंने कभी एक चीज़ दोबारा नहीं की. So I've been in academia, I've been in IT, I've been in retail, And one thing I also tell everybody is that I'm not an HR professional, not a traditional one at least. But I've received a lot of warmth from the HR fraternity, for which I'm humbled. But essentially, I consult for whatever is required. Currently, I'm the marketing advisor of XCM Global. It's a Canadian global education consultancy with a difference. We're hoping to change the landscape of education consultancy. थोड़ी सी आपको पता है कि बदनाम है. We want to be super affordable. We want to educate everyone that there are other universities other than the Ivy Leagues and the Russell Group that you can apply to and you can. Other than that, I'm the co-founder of Game Train, which is an IT gaming accelerator. And we're again hoping to make a difference in the gaming and animation sector, inshallah. Thank you.
ग्रेट जबरदस्त. मैंने मासूमा का जो लास्ट एक सेशन था विद अदील हाशमी, मैंने वो देखा और मैंने वो कंप्लीट देखा. उस सेशन ने मुझे एंगेज रखा एंड आई वुड से मासूमा दैट वाज समथिंग एक्सीलेंट. और उसमें जो आप जिस तरह से उसको लेके चल रही हैं समथिंग रिमार्केबल. हम अपने टॉपिक की तरफ आएंगे और उसमें मैं अपनी बात का आगाज कुछ यूं करूंगा कि शायद आपके इल्म में हो, ऑडियंस के इल्म में है या नहीं. मैंने आज ही न्यूज में ये देखा है कि जो पाकिस्तान में पंजाब गवर्नमेंट ने खासतौर पर जो मिनिमम वेज है उसको 20,000 पे अप्रूव कर दिया है. या तो 20,000 मिनिमम वेज का अप्रूवल जो है गवर्नमेंट ने दे दिया है, पंजाब गवर्नमेंट ने. और ये एक खुशाइन बात है, खासतौर पे जो वर्कर कम्युनिटी है, जो वर्कर्स हैं, जो लेबर है, उनके लिए बड़ी बहुत जबरदस्त एक गुड न्यूज है. तो जफर साहब थोड़ा सा बैकग्राउंड शेयर करते हैं हमारे साथ. लेबर डे कब स्टार्ट हुआ, कैसे, क्यों जरूरत पड़ी, व्हाट वुड यू से?
Jahan, thank you. I was anticipating that you will ask me, and I was going prepared to tell you I'm not going to give you the answer. The reason is that it's Labor Days, labor laws. It's only a Google away. What happened in Chicago and this and that, and I'm going to talk to you from a deeper perspective, in the sense that what is the real issue here? I mean, Labor Day is basically a day that we use as a symbolic, reinforcement of the rights of labor. Of a labor, who are the laborers? They're the class that emerged after industrial revolution, when mechanization took place and a lot of mechanical advantage, and people realized that real work is being done by one person, and the capitalist is taking away the majority of the profit. So that exploitation, the whole concept started based on exploitation, and it continues with the same zeal even today. Exploitation of human beings. Now we need to understand. You said, and I'm glad that you started off with the Punjab government 20,000, and your assumption and your happiness that it is a good news. I'm very sorry. Unfortunately, the grand reality is different. It is not a good news. Why? I will tell you. Last time it was raised to 12,000, and I met with one of my ex-colleagues in Lahore, and we were having dinner at Food Street, and I said that and he's working for an organization from an informal sector, a large organization, I can't remember, which employed 9,000 employees. So I said, at the point of academic interest, that how do you manage your cost base now? I mean, because the salary has already been increased. So, I mean, immediately it raises your salary cost by 25%. So, how do you manage your business? So he just laughed. He said, "Sir, you don't know the reality." I said, "What is the reality?" He said that every laborer will sign on a slip of 12,000 and will receive 9,000. And they have a choice.
Okay.
The choice is to take it or take it. So now that's reality. Grand reality is that you can't increase salaries by legislation, because if there are two things we should remember. A, the business dynamics will determine whether it is economically viable or not. Tomorrow you make it 50,000 and I will close my shop. If I have to pay 50,000 and I don't make, and I have to borrow money to pay salary, it's not going to work. And I may sound controversial on a Labor Day, but please understand, I think it's so important for us. It's so very important for us to understand the grand reality. Reality is what determines the wage is economics. What determines any price control is like controlling the price. You cannot control the price. You can only control when demand and supply balance is achieved. So if you've got more people waiting for a job, if you've got more people who are really looking for earning basic livelihood, and then there are people who are ready to take a cut in salary, people who are ready to work at a lower salary, then why would anybody pay more? Legislative enforcement is not a practical thing in the face of economics, and you can see it in any field. So Labor Day is a very important day to make this realization and look into opportunities of addressing the things from a different way. You cannot force people to give more salaries. You will not do it tomorrow. If you're, let's say, domestic servant is charging you 20,000 rupees now, and government says, okay, it applies to the domestics and you give 50,000, you will not. You will tell your cook that, okay, sorry, you can go. I can't afford. Then he will say, okay, sir, aap jo dete hain, de de. And then that is how the reality will take over. So we need to understand that the issue of labor, the time is short, and obviously I can't take you to the historical perspective of it. I just wanted to use this session to focus on the grand reality on the Labor Day, that you have to create opportunities, you have to create job opportunities. It is a much bigger role that the government has to play, not by enforcing employment or salaries, but by providing more and more job opportunities. And when the moment the job opportunities increase, the salary will increase. And you will see that even in the
Right.
and basic thing I always look at the domestic side of it. You increase your salary of your people. Why? Because the market salary increases. What does that mean? That is, market is prepared to pay more, then you will pay more. And if your cook says that in this house the cook is getting 25,000 and I can't work in 15,000, you have the choice. You say, okay, I will not have a cook, or you will increase the salary. So you have to go and increase the salary. So the equilibrium of demand and supply is achieved. That is the pricing. That is the real price. So legislative changes are not going to help. We need to do two things. I want to just mention one more factor. One, we need to increase the job opportunities, which is the economic activity. And at the moment that happens, the price will increase. Secondly, I want to say there are two kinds of labor. One is the manual labor that you see in construction industry and this and that. They are being automated. A lot of things are happening there. And the one that we talk in the, I mean, I have led labor union negotiations in the most difficult organizations in Pakistan, in the Bank and in the Karachi Electric. They were very hardened, toughened unions. And I've dealt with them, and I know the way they come, and I know the political influences that promote them. There are a lot of interesting things there. Labor Day, we have to now retrain our laborers to work in the new paradigm. That is going to be a very positive contribution rather than just writing articles and holding and just.
So how do you see it possible?
The possibility is twofold. We can, one, it's going to happen naturally because like the new technology will require new skills people. So the organization will have to train the people into new skills. Secondly, the value creation by employment is something, in a country when there are more people and less employment, we have to shift the thought to some other aspects of value creation in society, which can be alternative opportunities. Like, right now you have Uber is an example.
Yeah.
And self-employment kind of a thing, and government can promote it. There's so much of public transport opportunity, and we can have models where we give the drivers, make a consortium of drivers, give them the buses, give them the thing, and we say that, okay, you run it, you make money, and we pay back your loan. So there are a lot of innovative ways of approaching unemployment and innovative ways of approaching the labor grievance issues.
To engage the labor, yeah.
Protection. You see, what happened was in the labor history, if you see, Pakistan was doing economically very well, and our industrial sector was promoting very well into the late 60s and early 70s. We were the example. Seen as the Asian
No
tiger,
doubt.
something or something. Koreans came and others. They came and they studied our model and they bent and they changed. We went into a disaster in our Pakistan's economic history. That was nationalization of 1972 or 73, which came under Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. He nationalized everything, and the capital became shy. People took their money out and they went, and industry collapsed. And at the same time, because of the political reasons, we pampered the laborers because we wanted their vote. So we pampered them, we gave them their, and there came an extreme time when labor unions were so aggressive that they will go, and there are examples of physical mishandling of the management, physical mishandling of the owner, and that was a very bad time. And from there, then obviously everybody stopped, they closed their industry, and there were no jobs. And then there was a re-engagement process, and then the union. And right now, I tell you just one example, and I will conclude.
Yeah.
Right now, if you go to some of the public sector organizations, what you see there, the salaries of median level, like drivers, the guards, and all, is unbelievable. For example, in one of the banks, they are getting 200 to 250,000. They're paying to the drivers, plus medical for family, all dependent, plus this and plus that and plus that. It is a huge cost that public sector is carrying right now. They are bleeding to death, and they are being given subsidy every year. We are paying 1 trillion subsidy to sustain our public sector inefficient organizations. And one of the key reasons for that inefficiency is because we have highly expensive labor. LUMS graduate will aspire to the salary of a driver. Unfortunately, Masooma, this is something reality. We just go and see the numbers. But the thing is that this has to end, and to this, government doesn't have
You're very right.
seem to have the political will to do it. But I'm saying that that is not sustainable. As a result of which, in 1996 onwards, lot of banks they had to do the term game, the right sizing, or golden handshakes. Thousands of people had to be laid off because they were not sustainable. So with this kind of labor treatment, if we go and pamper and we keep on giving salary linked to inflation, which is indexing it with inflation, that is not sustainable. Salaries and things are always determined with market. So you see at what cost is the product available to you. If it is available to you at price, you're not going to pay double the price just because you may have a philanthropy, but you will not have a business. So I'm sorry, my reviews are radical on labor.
That's totally okay, and I agree with your point of view that in khas taur pe Pakistan mein, the worker will receive he will sign the salary slip of 20,000, but what he will be getting is something that is a different debate. But my point is that still there are many organizations in Pakistan. They comply with the laws, they comply with the legal benefits and minimum wage and etc. Masooma, what's your take on this? On liberty and
you're absolutely right. Just let me conclude. I have worked with at least 2 multinational companies, American Express and Exxon, and where we used to totally comply with it, and we used to do that, and we used to go through that. But then eventually, you will see all these organizations they reduce their unionized staff. They reduce it by promoting them into officer grade, enriching their jobs. And I have done a number of that. In Karachi Electric, in one day, I promoted 3,600 employees from union to officers. And because there were people who were graduates, who were diploma holders, preferring to work as a unionized staff because of the benefits they get, but they were qualified to be officers. I promoted 3,600 people just in one day. And that changed the whole demographic of labor union and officers' ratio. Sorry.
Right. Masooma, I would ask you about specifically the benefits related to the women. What would you say?
So, thank you for the insightful discussion, Shahan and Zafar. I was listening into it, and I do agree that upskilling and making the steep learning curve and kind of like mentoring and coaching them to reach the next level is the solution, or be my solution बताऊंगी Zafar साहब से, but talking about women. So, a lot is said, Shahan. So, first of all, जो आपने कहा कि what is the origin of Labor Day? I agree with Zafar साहब in the way, but I guess what is the bone of contention is that Labor Day में भी labor को तो paid छुट्टी नहीं मिलती. The white collared staff and all of us who are privileged, we can take the day off, and good organizations will give that day off, but mostly everybody else will still go to work because it is a developing country and there's poverty. इसी तरह अगर आपने women's privilege benefits की बात की है, so I'm a big ambassador. Wherever I go, I tilt I induct more women, and I've been told to be very biased. आप gender balance ही shift कर देते हैं अपने departments में या organizations में. उसका reason ये है कि the benefits I feel because I didn't get them, and we would hope that the next generation gets them. So recently we heard of one gentleman receiving a paternity leave. That was unheard of, and good organizations are giving fathers also those leaves to help, with a new addition in the family.
Yeah.
That is something which makes me hopeful. Maternity leaves as well in good organizations have been enhanced. So, I have, Shahan, I have twins and a younger one, so triplets is what people know me for. But I know that at that time, it was almost a given that you were embarrassed to tell your recruiter about that you're expecting, and you were also trying to compensate. जब आप बता रहे होते थे, you go on maternity leave, you would also try and tell them that I'll work from home and right after delivery I'll be available. I won't take leaves. मैं जल्दी आ जाऊंगी, because you wanted to hold on.
But that doesn't work sometimes. Yeah.
You wanted to hold on and not be demoted, because each time you take a gap तो ऐसे हो जाते. So I do understand कि अब maternity leave भी ज़्यादा in good organizations ज़्यादा handsome हो गई. It's up to 3 months, and for myself, I've given my team member up to 4 or 5 months actually, because I felt that pain in my career. So if they're able to deliver, I can, I'm happy to do that. अब जो हम policy की बात करते हैं, I read a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, that the Punjab government said that there should be a subsidy and childcare available. We'll give this subsidy for all organizations who set this up. But you and I know, and Zafar would know, that there are very few organizations who would actually reimburse that childcare or daycare subsidy to and it doesn't apply if they have some helper at home. So, it is a blanket subsidy statement, but it doesn't really help. And also setting up childcare. अगर देखा जाए तो, organizations I've collaborated or worked with, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, very few again have lumped a beautiful one. And hence I was able to stick around for a decade. So these are things I feel strongly about. And I feel that there should be more policies for women, who were great performers. I'm not a proponent of quota, but women who were talented to have them back after they had.
Absolutely.
Right. Zafar साहब, ये तो जो मासूमा ने बात की, ये कुछ ऐसे बेनिफिट्स थे कि जिसमें मैटरनिटी लीव है या डे केयर वाला बेनिफिट है. जो लीगल बेनिफिट्स हैं पाकिस्तान में प्रैक्टिस हो रहे हैं, EOBI है, सोशल सिक्योरिटी है, इनके बारे में आप इनको किस तरह देखते हैं और मजीद क्या बेहतरी आ सकती है इन चीज़ों में?
देखिए, जो मैं आपको बताऊं, लीगल बेनिफिट्स आर वेरी वेल एक्सप्लेन्ड इन द IRO and they keep on updating, और काफी उसमें एक चीज बड़ी क्लियरली लेट आउट, क्या होना चाहिए क्या नहीं होना चाहिए. है ना, उसमें आपको मेरा जो सिर्फ रेगुलेटरी एनवायरनमेंट में ऑपरेट करने का मेरा जो एप्रीहेंशन है वो मैंने आपको बता दिया. इट ओनली वर्क्स टू द पॉइंट वेयर इट इज वायबल फ्रॉम अ बिजनेस पर्सपेक्टिव. तो मेरी अब सोच ये है कि मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंटली वी हैव टू लुक एट इट फ्रॉम अ बिजनेस वायबिलिटी पर्सपेक्टिव देन मैंडेटिंग थिंग. अब मासूमा ने जो बात की थी कि अगर कोई बहुत ही टैलेंटेड फीमेल एम्प्लॉई है who's contributing a lot to the organization, तो उनके लिए ये बहुत मुश्किल होगा कि वो अगर कोई एक्स्ट्रा बेनिफिट देने की वजह से वो उस टैलेंट को लूज कर लें. So they are not going to do it. They are going to hold it and pamper मेरे पास मेरी अपनी कंपनी में अगर कोई ऐसा रिसोर्स है जो बहुत ही वैल्यू एडिशन करता है टू द प्रोसेस एंड टू द सर्विसेज, I would not like to lose. The key is being valuable to the organization. And there I agree with Masooma. बजाय quota system और इसके, we have to invest a lot on women education, women capability building, And it's amazing that there were times in my company that I really had to make a conscious decision to induct some men because it was becoming predominantly a female organization. But it was not that I was by any I was not driven by any quota or choice. It was very simply that they were good. They were very good. They were coming. They were talented, and so you need to do that. कुछ इनहेरेंट लिमिटेशंस होती हैं जो कि आई एम श्योर मासूमा विल एग्री जिसमें पीपल सेट रेट सिटिंग की बात है लॉजिस्टिक्स की बात है बट आई थिंक मैटरनिटी लीव की बात है I don't know Masooma you mentioned that you have babies mashallah and we talk about maternity and paternity leave also now unfortunately that father leave was not available in my time I had 5 kids deprived of that benefit. But the thing is that when you talk of 3 months maternity leave, why would how do you spend time? I mean, I know initial period managing baby, but baby doesn't take 24 hours a day, right? It takes some time, and as time passes, so how do you kill time? So my own view on that is now with this technology breakthrough, online Zoom, this and that. So one can even do a lot of work uh, uh, while you are taking care of the baby rather than just 3 months or 9 months or 6 months leave. I don't know because I'm not being a mother, but I can speak from experience. Maybe 4 weeks is reasonable to get the baby to a situation where one can find few hours a day, and we're looking 3 hours, 4 hours at your own time. Schedule morning, evening, and if you're getting something to review, research report or something, one can do. So I'm still debating whether the time is right, should be right to really not to have that concept of maternity leave that cut out because you're losing out a lot. I mean, 6 महीने अगर आप दूर हैं जिस स्पीड से आजकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन चलती है काम हो रहा होता है कोई भी प्रोजेक्ट पे आप काम करें प्रोजेक्ट तो आगे निकल गया ना so now you got to join you've lost a lot of things in the steps in the process so it's a crazy world obviously so I would recommend reconsidering uh, the traditional concept of leave now does not necessarily mean that once you're out of office you are observed for nothing you're still very, very useful resource. And if you are a talented resource, and your nature of job gives you the flexibility to, continue to add value, one should consider that. I mean, we have digressed from the Labor Day, but this is a fascinating discussion. I'm loving it, and I wish sometime, Shahan, you organize a longer discussion on these things. You must have noticed that I'm not a traditionally, chained kind of a person. I have my own thoughts that
Right.
come up and they're different, and I'm taking the liberty of speaking here.
That is the reason basically we have invited you just to have your thoughts and your experiences. And definitely,
I must have made a lot of enemies today, and people must be cursing me for not being too human. But trust me, I'm being very, very. I'm talking of things which is in interest of people and their survival
yeah,
and the future.
yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. I would ask you about the changing of the concepts about this Labor Day. कि किस तरह से ये concept टाइम के साथ साथ जाहिर है ये चेंज हो रहा है ना लोगों की सोच तब्दील हो रही है इसको प्रैक्टिस करने का तरीका तब्दील हो रहा है इस डे को सेलिब्रेट करने का तरीका तब्दील हो रहा है चीजें हाईलाइट डिफरेंट तरीके से हो रही हैं जफर साहब लास्ट में आप थोड़ा सा इस पे कमेंट कर दें देन हम इस पॉइंट पे कमेंट लेंगे मासूमा का देन विल क्लोज अप
No, absolutely. Any day that we celebrate is reinforcement. चाहे वो Father's Day, Mother's Day, आपको पता नहीं. Every second day there is a day. So you have to celebrate. You become a marketing. Initiate. क्या कहना चाहिए? Creative marketers like Masooma come up with some business opportunity in form of a day. So the Sisters Day, Brothers Day. Labor Day is also, in my opinion, it's a very important event every year. Because any day brings us reinforcement of the reality. So this is, I think, going to be a very important opportunity for the whole world to get together and see what has changed. But my only thing is with the Labor Day that we have to start thinking differently. We have to unlearn what we learned in the days when it was the Karl Marx days of theory of surplus value and communism and capitalism versus socialism. Those were the debates when Labor Day was at a different dynamic. But today, the
Hmm.
Labor Day has to be seen as a proactive opportunity for some proactive thinking. When the world is entering into a highly automated, disruptive environment, new opportunities, as I mentioned, new opportunities for providing people employment and fair
Hmm.
employment, and the artificial intelligence. When you implement technology, a lot of people become redundant,
Hmm.
and we've seen it in the big bank. One day when we went totally automated, did the thing, the branch made 10 people were just sitting redundant. We didn't know what to do with them. So those are the things, they are part of the process of automation. And unless organizations are focused on proactively thinking and preparing themselves for that, the challenge will be that we will have frustrating situations in ahead. So Labor Day should be an opportunity for us to think here. Maybe after this discussion, we have created some realization that there are ways to think differently on this. There are opportunities to think differently, and maybe we have the ability to contribute something. But you've done a great job, Shahan. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Masooma, your take, please.
Gee, I think I would like to second what Zafar Saab said on the proactive approach as opposed to reactiveness. And I think summing up, I would say to embrace change, because change means good things. We should move away from tradition and think change is bad. It is intimidating, but risk takers love it. Risk takers like myself. So change. देखा जाए that what are the new demographics of the workforce looking like? It's not just people who know one craft or one skill, but plug and play people who will be needed in the future, who can be good in several roles and responsibilities, who are like molecules, all across the globe. They come together for a project, then disintegrate, do another one. So उन चीजों को देखते हुए we for the workforce, especially for the organizations that we are in, I would say that HR and leadership needs to see what is it that the workforce who is creative, who are innovators like scientists, doctors, artists, singers, what is it that they desire? Because अब बहुत carefully the new generation looks at what location they want to apply to, what company they're also interviewing whilst they're going through the
Yeah.
interview process. So, just having this mindset that they are everybody's precious, but there are these creative folks who are knowledge bases, not just craftsmen. Or unko, the fact that Corona has taught us that you can be working at any location, flexibility, which used to be unheard of. When I asked for flexibility, I was very lucky, Shahan. So, Lums made me part time, Conflict made me part time. I've been very lucky. I've always worked fewer hours, but I know that that's not a rite of passage. Not everybody got it. But Corona ne ye kar diya, we've shown that productivity doesn't drop when you're working from home. You could be working from a cafe or your house or your mother's house, and you can still do that. And so, just offer them benefits that they desire. थोड़ी सी survey करके, comparative research, जैसे ज़फ़र साहब कह रहे थे. And last but not the least, integration of IT and HR and all into the strategic business. Because we keep talking about it, but they're still kind of like stepchildren. वो silos पे होते हैं and the business moves forward. And they talk about money on the table and those larger discussions that are complete. Innovative folks say how to deal with them, what benefits to offer them, empathy, and then of course proactiveness. जैसे ज़फ़र साहब कह रहे थे, all of this will be needed because it's a new way and the new way has already started. I think and अभी अभी एक comment आई वो मैं repeat करूंगी. Ali with an ALY wrote that just like every day is Mother's Day, every day is Labor's Day as well. So I
Every day
agree
is
with him.
Labour's Day.
सही
Very,
बोला है, and I
very well said.
agree with that. Thank you.
Very well said. Very well said.
थैंक यू वेरी मच. थैंक यू मासूमा. मैं आखिर में जफर साहब से कहूँगा कोई भी क्लोजिंग कमेंट दें, एनी पीस ऑफ एडवाइस, एनीथिंग. आई नो देयर आर किड्स अराउंड, बट दैट्स ओके. प्लीज गो अहेड.
Thank you so much. I think we've discussed some very, very interesting ideas and created some awareness about some fresh thinking. My only key recommendation to all the IR officers and HR officers dealing with labor is that yes, there is a regulatory side of it. We have to keep an eye. But on the conceptual side, please unlearn what you have learned in the past look into the new situation and futuristic and come up with new strategies to manage the labor in the future environment where there are not so many redundancies. We have to be proactive on that.
Great, great. Thank you very much. Masooma, closing comment.
My comment is saying that I also think that it's kind of like a reset button. I also use the word recalibration, जो हमें continuously करनी है. Maybe that today I think that I know, whether it's HR or marketing, I could think that I've learned enough. But again, we've learned in the past year and a half that it's never enough. Learn from everybody around you, learn from other HR practitioners when making policy for your colleagues. Have a focus group, ask them what benefit they would value more than anything else. So top down, nahi, bottom up, and kind of like in a commodity, networking style. So they also own whatever you're rolling out. And yes, I think Labor Day will never be the same again. I will also include everyone who, this includes people who are working at home, freelancers, women at home who are working. Everybody is contributing, taking Pakistan to the next level. And we should celebrate it and, keep building the fraternity. That's the only way the country will go.
Inshallah. Very good.
Inshallah, inshallah. Thank you very much. Once again, बहुत शुक्रिया Zafar साहब आपका, मासूमा आपका बहुत शुक्रिया ज्वाइन करने के लिए. It was very healthy discussion और inshallah we'll schedule another session with you guys जिसमें हमें टाइम भी थोड़ा सा मिलेगा ज़्यादा. Zafar साहब आज टाइम थोड़ा सा कम था और inshallah,
as I told you, I'm just a call away.
Thank you very much. Thank you. मैं एक दफ़ा फिर अपने गेस्ट स्पीकर्स का शुक्रिया अदा करूंगा और उसके अलावा अपनी ऑडियंस का भी कि जिन्होंने हमें टाइम दिया और इस सेशन से यकीनन आपको बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला होगा. बहुत से डिफरेंट आइडियाज़ ज़फ़र साहब की तरफ से, मासूमा की थॉट्स आपने सुनी और लेबर डे को आज हमने थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट एंगल से देखा. एंड आई होप कि आपको ये थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट एंगल जो है ये प्रोडक्टिव लगा होगा, ये हेल्दी लगा होगा. बहुत से इनिशिएटिव्स अभी भी लेने की जरूरत है. ग्रास रूट लेवल पे जाके खास तौर पे जो आईआर रिलेशंस, जो आईआर के ऑफिसर्स हैं, उनको लेबर के साथ एंगेज होके, उनकी एग्जिस्टेंस को एक्सेप्ट करके, उनके काम को एक्नॉलेज करके हम एक बेहतरीन चेंज लेके आ सकते हैं वर्क प्लेस पे. किसी एक वर्क प्लेस पे अगर चेंज आता है, एक मोटिवेशन लेवल हाई होता है, प्रोडक्टिविटी इंक्रीज होती है, तो वो सिर्फ उस एक वर्क प्लेस, एक कंपनी की बात नहीं होगी, कलेक्टिवली फिर ये ओवरऑल एक नेशन की बात होगी. This is how we can grow and we can go to the next level, I would say. Thank you very much, Zafar साहब. Lastly, मासूमा बहुत शुक्रिया आपका ज्वाइन करने का. इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट टाइम किसी और टॉपिक के साथ दोबारा मुलाकात होगी. तमाम व्यूअर्स से मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा अपना बहुत ख्याल रखिएगा. See you again, inshallah. Take care. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.